Your supply chain management team needs training. I'm Greg Schenkel, President of Unique Training and Development and Frontline Leadership Systems, and we've got to take some time here to build up the skills in your supply chain team. You know, one of the myths is that all training is the same. Like you go to one leadership class, you've been to all the leadership classes. But you and I both know that that's not true, because some leadership training ends up focusing on examples that have nothing to do with supply chain operations and manufacturing. And it doesn't take long for the BS detectors in those supervisors to start to know that this really isn't a good fit for me. And so then they tune out. And of course, if you've had some of those experiences, it tends to make people think, hey, we won't waste our money doing that again. Well, rest assured there is better training, and I'd like to share some of that with you. So according to a study by Deloitte, 75% of industrial organizations identified that reskilling their workforce is important or very important to the success of their operation in the long run. But only 10% said they really had an effective game plan for reskilling their workforce to be successful in the future. So that reminds me of one management team that we had worked with where they were running into resistance in terms of implementing change that would increase the overall performance and effectiveness of the work group. They just weren't hitting their numbers consistently, and management was getting increasingly frustrated and was reverting to old school autocratic top-down push people to perform. And then of course that didn't really work in the long run. Now, what the supply chain director realized when he took a look is he said, our people are still running on 1.0 versions of how to do things in the supply chain. They're kind of using the fundamentals, which you could argue don't go to style, but really the technology and the systems had elevated it to where the people needed to really be at a 3.0 sort of leadership management system in their head. So what we did is we helped come alongside them and crafted some training that helps. But I'd like to share with you what I think are the key things for how your supply chain management needs training to improve its results. The first area is to do a technical skills upgrade. Now that means that your people actually are probably falling behind in how to best use the many tools that your organization has invested in order to drive its performance up. And because they don't know how to use the tools well, they really need those technical skills to get the most out of that investment. We all know that you can invest a lot in systems only to find out that the people don't know how to use it effectively. So invest in their technical skills. The second area, of course, would be a soft skills upgrade, and that's more where we come in. And what we really want people in the supply chain to know is this power of collaboration and communication, because if we're not getting information to one another quick enough, we are going to have gaps where product is just sitting there when it could have been moving on to the next stage, and that's going to cause overall delays for your production customers, the people who need the supply chain, but also on the supplier side and even on the customer side. So if we can get better collaboration and soft skills in your supply chain management, you're going to see some improvements. Now, the third area that I think you should focus on in terms of, increasing and providing training to your supply chain management would be change agility. Now, change agility recognizes that change isn't going to be slowing down anytime soon, but the agility is your ability to respond to these changes more quickly and not have the organization move like a slow turning boat in a harbor, that instead that they can use a speedboat kind of agility to make adaptations to what's going on in the environment. So we also want your team to understand that change doesn't have to be big and scary. It can just be something that they know, hey, we got this. We can handle this and we can incorporate it. So we have some great skills that we can impart on them on what is it that causes resistance to change and how do you overcome that reliably and consistently so that your supply chain can perform at its top, highest level. Once you've worked on the technical skills, upgrading your technical skills, the soft skills, and the change agility skills of your team, you're going to want to work on some of the other leadership skills that drive excellence and performance. And of course, that's where our frontline leadership training comes in. It's available in English, Spanish, and French, delivered on-site in person for your team or through our state-of-the-art virtual training studio. Now, no matter which format would work best for your team, it all starts with a conversation, and that means visiting our website at uniquedevelopment.com or connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook, and that way we can build a community of excellence that drives your leadership to top performance.